8931. But to me, there's consequences in everything that you do. And regardless of the decisions that you make, others shouldn't have to pay for it to bail you out constantly over whatever the same thing is. I understand your analogy with as far as what you being with the cigarettes. But just flipping back to the drug testing, it's like, okay, the money is given to you, like the gentleman, our previous caller had said, for the kids. If you're doing drugs, then it can't be going for the kids. It's impossible, okay? That's not going with the kids. Okay, and if they find out, no one said that they will be kicked off the system. Maybe they will be able to get them the help that is needed, because what it's going to do is going to cause an extra, really strong, extra inexpensive, because if that person ODs or if DIFUS gets involved because of certain thing, it could cause abuse. There's a lot of other things that go along with that. So if they know what they're up against, then they're able to address the issue. So, but what is hidden cannot be healed.
You have to address it. You can't address it if you don't know what's happening.
Right. You don't know what's happening. So I'm in agreement with all the upper. I work hard, and I want to flip a burger, but I can't because I'm considered a risk. Well, you know what? If you're getting welfare and you're doing drugs, you're a risk for your kids.
Right.
You're a high risk for your kids. They could end up in DIFUS. They can end up destroying them mentally, which goes even further because of the drug-related. Then the kids are up to be abused in other different ways, regardless if it's in the system or in the system where they have foster homes and stuff like that. And then even it's a chain. It even goes further, and with the drugs, because if this is what's happening in their home and they don't know no other way, what do you think is going to happen? It becomes a generational thing that they end up doing drugs. And then they end up becoming part of the growing corporate pipeline for convicts in the prison system. It's a whole lot that goes chain after chain, chain after chain. But especially with young boys, when they see this, then they go out and they repeat this because this is what's in their home. And then they're wrapped up in the drug system. So there's a lot that's connected to this if all this is hidden. It's a lot. So no one said, Utah didn't say that they would kick them off. They're just saying that they need to be drug tested because they're getting help, so we know how to distribute and how to do what needs to be done. Jobs do random tests because you become a liability. Well, those that are receiving welfare are also a liability for their children to get abused, a liability for their sons and daughters to get into the prison pipeline because they're on the corners selling the drugs, and it becomes almost a way of life. The women that are letting this in their house, where their daughters are being exposed to different things, this has a lot to do with it. And not only in any home, but because you're receiving state help, they are responsible. Now something happens, they're the one that pays for your funeral. They're the ones that pay for the psychiatry. They're the ones if you end up in prison. Now everybody who's paying taxes are paying for them with their because of the lifestyle, and then it becomes a growing issue. Not so much to punish them that if you're on drugs, you're not getting a check anymore. No, you're on drugs, we're going to seek help. And if you're not going to try to make a change, then there's consequences.
And then there's an issue because it's like people who do need the help, because there's already so much help giving out that
To the
people
ones that
who
are
do
abusing.
need it, right? The ones who do need it is like it's hard. It's a hard thing to even try to receive it.
Yeah.
You know, when there are people like TRSA and Ruth said that's on drugs, and some of the children are not even really getting the funds that's supposed to go to them. So it's rough, I mean, I understand on both areas that, you don't want, because it is for the children. It's like if you do test the mom, it's like, wow, now you're taking everything, from the children. But it's just like, okay, the ones who's going in the store just once a month, like, hey, just buy everything you want, and then that's just it.
And
so.
in Utah, they weren't talking about taking the checks from them. We're able to tell where the help needed to be. So these other things that
And
I
that was
mentioned
my
about,
point. Yeah.
that was connected to it, because believe me, that one thing can cause a whole big problem all the way down the line.
And I agree with that.
All the way down the line. They didn't say they were taking a check away, but just like with anything, if you don't make that change, then you can't get the prize.
And I think they're making it hard now for newcomers who needs help with the system than with people who's already been on the system for years. Because like I said, I don't think that it's too much that they have to go through just to keep the money. But newcomers that's coming in, is like so much you have to,
Well,
Yes, it
it's
is.
no secret. They don't want to give out the money.
No, they
Everybody
definitely
knows
don't.
that they don't want to give it out. But my grandmother, who's been on welfare for years, she's in her 60s now. She can't go back to work. They make her certified every couple months or so too, and she's been on the system for a while. So because they don't want to give you anything, and they'll cut you off just like that. Oh, A, B, C. Oh, she missed C. Cut her off real
But
quick.
the other people who's been on it that knows how to go around
I
the
think they
system
go through
and
the same
loophole-
thing.
The loop, no, because a lot of them know those loopholes. Like,
All right.
Ruth
I
said,
have
you know.
I have a comment that somebody sent to me on Facebook, and I asked them what do they think about drug testing the our welfare recipients, and my friend Hugo said he works for his and he gets tested. If you're just sitting at home and not earning anything, you should be tested. And he sees people at the register dressed better than him, paying with their EBT card. He thinks that is BS. So thank you for sending me
Thank
that
you.
info.
Is there anyone in the chat room that you know?
No.
Okay.
And I agree with that part. I think that people who misuse it definitely should be penalized, but I don't know if we should have that communist way of thinking that this is how everything should be. I think we could focus our attention on other things, like trying to make everybody who's working and people who are trying to do better for themselves kind of come together. Maybe make everything even across the board, so people who are disadvantaged can get some kind of advantage.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's everybody. The thing is that everybody's right
Yeah.
here at the table. Although we see different views on it, we're all right. So that goes to show you, just with that, how many issues that could right, even from our person on Facebook. Thank you. What's the person's
Hugo.
name? Hugo. He's 100% correct.
Yeah.
What Ruth Daness is saying is 100%. What I'm saying, what Lainey's saying, what you bring in and evaluating. You didn't give your opinion. You just said that you're agreeing with everyone, and it's like, yeah, but you know what?
I'm agreeing with everybody, I think, due to the children. It's like I feel, bad for the children.
But unless this is done, the children could set up to fail. They could die, regardless. If it's all about the children, they could lose. They're the ones that lose. They're the ones that their parents are doing wrong. We're not talking about sitting up there and they want the cash for the because back in my day they had the Monopoly money where it was easier for you to do, but they have the EBT card that maybe they needed to do that so they can get washing powder to wash their clothes. We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about seriously abusing the system and regarding drugs, being tested for drugs. And if they're tested, and it has nothing to do with but for them to urinate in a cup or whatever it is, for them to be tested. They're on Medicaid anyway, so it's going to pay for it. But instead of going to a doctor and with that Medicaid card, and he's constantly giving them over-the-counter drugs because he's giving them a lie for them to sell on the street so they can hustle money.
Yeah. we
So
got
there's
that
a
too.
lot. There's a lot, and there's those that are not on welfare that do stuff like that. I know that, but we're talking about the ones that are actually surviving off of other people's hard labor, and we are struggling and working for what we have, and they're abusing the system and don't have to sit and do anything like our person Hugo.
I think his name Hugo. Yes.
Hugo on Facebook was expressing. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind, and I have friends that do it. And I tell them, girl or guy, you know that ain't even right because I work hard for my. But I tell them, but I see how they work the system. I go, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But on that note, we'll be right back, people. Rated M.